So Cancer, this week you've pulled some difficult ones, and we're going to get into this. So from Lay Vampire, you pulled the past of prison, bitterness, grudge, and refusal to let go. And then from Chakra Wisdom, you pulled vanity. Now, the past of prison is saying that you have a chance now to free yourself from the sadness and misery of another, and to set a wonderful example of how to live freely without bitterness and regret. The problem is when you look at vanity, for some of you, there may be like a bitter feeling around people that you may have dealt with. The inspiration for this card says, we say we will stop when we have enough, but there's never enough. You may be looking outside yourself for validation. The personal question says, am I feeling disconnected from any people in my life? Am I growing away from limiting relationships? And then the key ideas are talking about living in illusion, self-doubt, power to change, lesser companions, and empty conversations. So basically, Cancer, for some of you, this may be a situation where you have surrounded yourself with people who I think they've left a bitter taste in your mouth. I hate saying it that way because it sounds so cliche, right? But that's exactly what I feel like with this. Now, it would have been different if something else would have showed up, but when I see vanity, a lot of times I feel like the people that are around you aren't necessarily bad. It's just that they're more focused in the material. But I think in this case, for some of you, it may be a situation where you've been surrounded by people who are on a different vibrational level than you, is the best way to put it. But the problem is what kind of negative effect did they put on you? All right, Cancer, here is the energy coming through. So the Four of Wands is good to see. And again, I've had to say this with Aries too. Aries had a fantastic reading, but what they pulled in the Oracle cards was really difficult. And, not everything is going to resonate with everybody. It's just one of those things where, when certain cards show up for the Oracle cards, it just may be a certain group of people that need to hear this. So now, looking at the Four of Wands, it's a beautiful signifier. When I look at the Four of Wands, first of all, yes, it does have to do with celebrations. But the other thing is when you're looking at the wand suit, when you get to the four, you get to a point where you start to see progress. And it's like, it's time to stop now and celebrate how much you have done. You understand that there's still more to do, but this is like the moment where you get to give yourself a pat on the back. The other thing with the Four of Wands, and I've noticed this with a lot of decks too, there's this feeling where you and another person are working together here to create a stable foundation. But overall, beautiful signifier. Ooh, in the past, so Justice. Seeing that as the past coming through is good. It's saying that, especially if you are dealing with, these situations here with the Oracle cards, that things are being balanced out now. Whatever was wrong is being corrected, right? There's fairness and balance here. The other thing, too, is when you're looking at Justice, you're making amends as well. It's not just that, whatever was wrong that may have been done to you is being corrected. It's also about you correcting the wrongs you may have done. And then weighing out everything before making any kind of clear-cut final decisions, too. But I do like Justice because of that feeling of fairness. And in the present, the Eight of Pentacles. So, again, when you're looking at the stable foundation, you're working toward that stable foundation. And it looks great. It looks great. Whatever, things that you may have dealt with before that have been difficult, and this is just looking at the Oracle cards. When you're looking at these three, things are changing in a good way. And you're putting in the effort here when you're looking at the Eight of Pentacles. This is somebody who's busting their ass. They're refining their skills. They're absorbed in their work. It suggests that they're happy with the work that they're doing and they're seeing amazing results. But when I see it in connection to other things that are going on, it's telling me that you're willing to do the work that's necessary, which is really good to see. And you're working towards your own stability. Oh, yeah, look at it. Oh, it's perfect. The star in future conditions, healing, emotional balance, having your wishes fulfilled. It's a little bit different than the Nine of Cups because this is like having, big wishes fulfilled, right? But the big thing for me when I see the star, I think of somebody who is not fighting the flow of things unfolding. You are going with the flow of the universe. You're letting things happen the way that they need to. And there is beautiful emotional balance here. There is hope for the future, hope and healing. It's perfect. Perfect to see. Your best path to follow. I like it, Cancer, because that to me is good advice from Spirit. When you're looking at the Knight of Wands as your best path to follow, or Spirit's advice to you, this is about you going after the things you have a passion for. A lot of times the Knight of Wands, the energy will teeter. It just depends. But with what I'm seeing here, I'm seeing you excited, adventurous, following where your passions take you. It's great. And for some of you, it definitely could be doing some traveling too. But I like seeing it. I like the energy. It's telling you get back on that horse. Start going after the things that you have a passion for. Put in that effort. Put in that work. And again, you're enjoying what you're doing, right? You're not doing it because you have to. And you get to a point here where you get to celebrate. You get to celebrate what you are doing for you. Oh, in your environment. Okay, so now when you're looking at the Ten of Wands and looking at it with the Eight of Pentacles, the warning there is don't get too overwhelmed. Don't get too overwhelmed, because this is suggesting that maybe you're putting a little bit too much on yourself. But again, seeing the star coming out, I'm not seeing this as a horrible thing. The Ten of Wands is one of those cards where, I've always said when I see this, delegate, right? And that's only because that word is drilled into my head all the time, right? Being in management, delegate, 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 right? It just may be one of those situations where you may have to ask for some help here. But the other thing is you don't want to weigh yourself down, especially with this major energy coming through, And for a lot of you, it could just be you working out of this kind of feeling. Instead of letting it weigh you down, you're starting to put in some effort here where you start to see some changes, big changes, right? But I do feel like seeing that there and looking at the Knight of Wands, it's one of those things where, Spirit is trying to tell you, you need to go after the things that light you up, that you have that passion for, right? But you don't want to get so overwhelmed with the work that you're doing either, And then for some of you, it may just be that you need to take a vacation. And that may be where the healing is coming through. Your hopes and your fears, looking at the Seven of Pentacles, to me, that's the reevaluation, right? Reevaluating things. This is one of the things where, when you're looking at the Seven of Pentacles as a fear, it may be that you're wanting to give up on something. It's like you get to a point where you start seeing results, but then you get to a point where it's like, you kind of lose motivation for it. It's like ending a project before you've seen it to completion almost. But then when you're looking at it as a hope, it's saying that you are seeing the results that you want to see. But it's also saying that, you're reevaluating what is going on in your life, especially when it comes to work. The other thing too is for some of you, you don't want to be continuing to work at something that is just dragging you down. And I think that that's where this is coming through. And then here you're looking at things differently. It's not that you're in a standstill point. It's just, you get to a point where you have to start asking yourself, are you seeing the results that you want to see? Or is there a different way to be doing things? And that is a good energy. It could be that you may be wanting to give up on something before you finished it. It's possible. But, you know, I more so get the feeling that you're just kind of looking at things now and going, you know what, there's got to be a different way. There's got to be a different way of doing things. It's one thing to put in the effort that's needed. But if you're just, you know, working at something that's just weighing you down, the Seven of Pentacles is a good energy to see. You know, and the big thing with that is because of the Star being there. Oh, and then your outcome. Wow, Cancer, the King of Swords. For some of you, you know, this may be having to deal with an air sign. And, you know, you've got Aquarius sitting there. You know, and then you have Libra as well, right? But looking at the King of Swords as the outcome here, you know, and I'm looking at it connected with the Star. This may be, you know, somebody that, again, when I'm, it's there. It's like, it's right there. Like I see you working with another person here, you know, and they may be coming through to help you see clearly that there may be a different way of doing things, so where you're not so overwhelmed and overworked. The other thing is when you're looking at the King of Swords as the outcome for the energy surrounding you, it looks good, especially with Justice sitting there. This is one of the few times where I see the King of Swords as a really good thing. You know, when you're looking at the King of Swords in the positive, he's very logical, an excellent communicator, somebody who is fair and just, right? Now, this could definitely be you coming out of this, you know? But then also it could have to do with another person coming through, and it's almost like they give you a little bit of guidance here, because I do feel like, you know, Spirit is trying to tell you, hey, you know, you do have to do the things that, you know, make you happy, the things that, you know, give you that spark of excitement. But, you know, looking at that as the outcome either way looks really good, Cancer. It looks really good. Really good. And you definitely may be doing some celebrating with a person here, especially if you have like a business partner coming through. Now, for some of you, if this has to do with legal situations, it looks great. It really does. It looks great. I think things are going to be okay. I just think that, you know, while you're putting in the effort here, you might get a little overwhelmed. But I do think that you start to look at things clearly. You do. You start to look at things clearly. And you start to go with the flow. It's perfect. It's perfect. Passion, I'm telling you. Believe and compassion. Nice. Now, when it comes to believe, right, you need to believe that, you know, there is a different way of doing things where you won't feel so overwhelmed, where you can get to the point where you can celebrate how far you have come. When you're looking at passion and you're looking at the Knight of Wands, I mean, right, following your passions, right, and believing that there is a way to go after the things that you have a passion for. Now, compassion. The big thing with this card is not only do you have to have compassion for yourself, but you need to have compassion for others. It's one of those cards where it says, when you don't understand the actions of other people, the best way to move forward is to have compassion. So, you know, if you're dealing with a situation where, you know, when you look at the past of prison and vanity, where you may have had to end relationships that, you know, may have gone really bad, looking at the past of prison, it's important to have compassion, right? And the other thing too is when you're coming out with the King of Swords, you know, if you're holding on to some bitterness involving some people that may have made you feel bad, you know, you don't want to be too harsh or too judgmental. You know, it's just one of those things where you need to just be compassionate, because that is what's going to shift your own energy. But beautiful, it's beautiful. And you're not the only ones to get this. Forgiving and learning. As you release and heal the past, you experience more love in your present moments. With past with the past or prison, yeah, definitely. So again, healing the past, and that's good. Attraction. You attract romantic love by enjoying this moment fully, and then retreat. It's time to disconnect from the world. So for those of you who are in a relationship, with attraction, retreat looks really good. Basically, it's saying that, there is attraction within the relationship, but to be able to fully enjoy that moment, you're going to have some alone time with your partner, right? Disconnecting from the world for a little bit. Maybe, taking a vacation together, maybe doing some traveling, right? But it looks good. It looks really good. And for those of you who are single, when you forgive and let go of the past, things will start to open up for you.